We're going to walk to the street just a little bit. We don't want to impede traffic or any of the emergency responses that are happening right now or the cleanup efforts that are underway. But take a look at just right down the road here. You can actually, in the far distance, I'm even seeing a tarp. You're seeing a lot of flashing lights as a lot of the cleanup crews begin the efforts of cleaning up, because you have to clean up the debris on the side of the roads before you can ultimately put power poles back in the ground and then try and get electricity up. And this is the cleanup efforts that we were talking about just a little bit ago. You have a man who is really controlling the machines that are cleaning up all of this debris and then putting it into the bucket, so that way they can haul it out of Mexico Beach, and then that again will help you get your power poles installed and then ultimately get electricity restored here. You mentioned that man that stayed and then saw the Hurricane Michael strengthen.
Yes.
We were told by the city manager as of early Wednesday that they were aware of 300 people that were going to be staying, but they aren't sure. Some of those people who left as the hurricane was ultimately strengthening.
Right. I think a lot of people made those last-minute decisions.
Yeah, so that is something that has really made the search and rescue or search and recovery process difficult over the last couple of days, because they are not sure of some of those numbers. So
another challenging part, though, on that behalf too, is as you've seen some of this destruction, the gentleman that I talked to that owns that other property over there's actually 2 houses that were once, here on this coastline in his parking lot. So that just goes to speak volumes too, that you have these addresses and you have these homes that were once standing somewhere else, and now they're in another area of town, and so that messes with the addresses and messes kind of where they're looking for people, and that was one of the challenges they had mentioned.
Yeah, what's also interesting, and we can't see it from here, and it's over by City Hall. You know exactly what I'm talking about. There's actually 2 homes in the road. Slightly, they've been pushed out, so you can still kind of drive through on 98, but there are homes in the road, and I'm hearing sirens. I want to make sure we're staying out of the way for folks. We have a couple of looks like first responders that are going to be coming through here. This is Motorola. They're probably trying to get cell phone service back on. These are blue lights that it looks like they just stopped temporarily. But obviously it's still very active, and this is one of the reasons why they need people to stay out of Mexico Beach, because it's so chaotic. This is Motorola, their emergency response team, so obviously cell phone service is still scarce for a lot of folks. I have AT&T. I have limited service. You don't have any.
Verizon is a no-go still here in the area, and I know that a lot of folks have told us, even if they do have AT&T, it's like you said, it's spotty. It's not necessarily something you can really use to its full potential at this point. So that is another struggle here, as communication is still non-existent. But again, with those recovery teams they talked about coming in, that crisis team and that recovery team that the city manager was telling us about, they're hoping that can kind of establish some more communication, because they'll have access, or they'll have the better access to getting the information out on the Facebook page and the Twitter and all that social media. Real quick, Mitch, if I can, I want to mention that thank you sign right behind us on that condo, which I think is just really heartwarming to see that Mexico Beach is just so thankful for everyone here that's helping. And they're, again, first responders from so many different areas of Florida, as far as, you've got South Florida, but then you have people as, north of Alabama, and I think even Missouri, we've seen. So I think that's really touching to see that, they're thanking people for being here, because everyone is working around the clock and taking their time to be out here. And I think you said it perfectly. We continue to see behind us, these roads are busy, and you see it's first responders, you see it's tree services, it's linemen. So it's so important that if you don't have to be back yet, and really they don't want you to be, because they need to be able to be on the roads and do their job.